Welcome back to the Coding Fanatic YouTube channel. I'm your host Richard, and I'm an Android developer focused on growing and learning efficiently. And my goal is to take the key pillars of what I've learned and teach new developers and people on the fence about the industry, like you, how to do the same. If that sounds like content that you're interested in, then hit subscribe and turn on notifications to see when I upload new videos like this one each week. Road to Pro is a series dedicated to highlighting some of my learning moments thus far from working with other people and teaching you how to apply these lessons in your life or at your job as well. Software development is more than just writing the software, it's being on the team with other people. So pay attention and take some notes. Years ago, many moons ago, I applied to work with an after-school coding company. Now, the company's goal was to teach kids how to write software and how to write code. And they did this by using different games and creating exercises centered around doing unconventional things, like hacking the console or hacking a game or something like that. Some piece of hardware or software to teach the kids to be innovative, but also teaching them technical skills that they can apply later on in their careers. Now, during this time, I was still in college and paying my way through school, working retail, and I found this job post that discussed or that focused on teaching kids how to learn Python by hacking Minecraft. Now, I never played Minecraft, and it was still kind of new at the time, but I thought it seemed pretty interesting and sounded like a fun way to learn a new skill that was directly related to software development. Now, I didn't have my degree as of yet, so I figured, well, shoot, this will be a good leg up into the industry. Give me something to put on my resume. I'll do it. After applying for the position, they called me back and we set up a phone interview, or I guess did the phone interview. Everything went gravy. They said that they liked what they saw on my resume, and we set up for an in-person interview. The problem was that the campus was very far from my home, and the commute would not have been that easy. But I was confident that this was a great position. Back then, I was, again, still going to college and working retail. So when I saw that Google Maps said it would take hours to reach this campus by bus, train, and on foot, I said, well, shoot, no problem for me. Let's do it. I got nothing but time. Let's do this. I remember the morning I left at before the very crack of dawn itself. It was still dark outside. I mean, this was during the winter time, so it was usually pretty dark anyway, but I left out super early, got the bus into town, got both trains, and then from one of the stops on the second train line after I got off, I walked about 1.5 miles in the snow. So, I mean, it wasn't brutal or anything. It wasn't so bad, but the only tough part was there were no sidewalks on that walk, so it was pretty rough. It was rough, but either way, I made it to the campus all in one piece. Now, when I arrived at the campus, oh man, it was beautiful. They had all these workstations set up with gaming computers, game consoles, and other like different little things that were set out, and all of them were like half opened or like modded or something like that. And it looks like the company, not only did they do the classes at the actual schools themselves, but they even had space for kids to come in where you could teach them how to solder a mod chip onto a motherboard or solder something onto a motherboard in general using these game consoles and these mod chips. They had gaming rigs set up that they were building from the bottom up, so they had the cases, the RAM, the motherboards, everything. All these different tools were set out, and I was like, damn, like coming from, if you're new to the channel or to Coding Fanatic, you might not know, but for the long time, for the OGs in Coding Fanatic, I got my start with computers when I was in high school, and I started out by hacking the old PlayStation Portable, the Sony handheld, the very first one. Me and my cousin used to open them up, change out parts. We did the software modding using, it wasn't legal, legal technically, whatever. But hey, we got custom ROMs installed on the PSPs, and we would be able to, or we'd be able to run different games and things like that. Like there was that was my venture into computers. I started kind of late compared to people in my generation, but hey, that was what got me going, was messing around with computers, tinkering with them, opening things, and trying to fix things too, so seeing a space that was dedicated to teaching kids how to do the things I had started doing when I first came in, I was like, damn, like this company is pretty cool. I like it. I think I'm gonna pretty sure I'm gonna enjoy working here. After I got settled in and everything, we started the interview process. Sat down and asked the basic questions about my experience and yada yada yada. And after they gave me the rundown of the work, I guess they liked what they saw, so they said, all right, well, hey, let's sit down at a computer and we'll show you just a little bit of what we do. I mean, they did say in the post that if you didn't have any Python experience, you would still be fine. But I wasn't expecting during the interview to actually be sitting down and working, learning how to do this hacking thing. This was the only job I've had where they actually train you during the interview process. I hadn't even gotten the job yet. They were impressed and they liked that I already had some programming experience, but they didn't outright say, okay, yeah, you're hired. But we sat down and started the training. I mean, I haven't even signed any paperwork yet. I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, they're giving you a skill during the interview. What other company do you know that will do that in modern day? You tell me. That's the only time of all I've worked many jobs, but this was the only one where they gave me training and helped me cultivate a new skill during the interview process. It was pretty badass. I have to give them props. That was good. That was pretty good. Things were going pretty well, but about 30 minutes into my training, the CEO comes in and he pulls me aside and he said, hey, can I talk to you for a second? And I guess the hiring manager told him about my journey into the office, and he asked me hey, do you have a car? Are you driving right now? And I told him no. I took the bus, train, and what BMW, bus, metro, walking. And he was, oh well, I hate to do this to you, but this position is looking for someone who can bring the computers to the school, set them up, and then start the training. And then when you're done, this meant bring all the computers back and to the campus after. That was the job that they're looking for. So it's more than just the teaching aspect, but in terms of setting up, I have to actually bring the computers from the campus to the schools and set up and then bring them back. So he just let me know, listen, I need somebody who has a car. I'm sorry that they didn't tell you about that, but that's that's what they needed. And I was, that's okay. I mean, it was still a really good experience. I thought that the company they seemed pretty legit from what I saw thus far, and it was an interesting idea, and I thought it would have been nice, but hey man, they needed somebody who could drive, and I didn't have that at the time. So the developer who was training me, he was pretty understanding, so he was like, listen, let me take you out to lunch and I'll just drive you back to the metro station so that you don't have to walk all the way back and go through that whole thing again, which was nice. I thought it was pretty cool. Now, during my drive with the developer, we're on our way to go get lunch, my phone rings and it's the hiring manager. So I pick up and they start yelling at me and cursing me out over the phone, talking about, well, who the F do you think you are? And why did you lie? You told me that you drove. You lied to me. Why would you do that? Now you made me look bad. And I was shocked. I was like, what the? First of all, I didn't understand who this person was talking to. I know they weren't talking to me, so I was a little taken aback. And second, what kind of hiring manager calls a candidate and curses them out on the phone? Are you nuts? What kind of foolishness? What is this? I've never heard of that in my life. Ever. I was so shocked. Who are they talking to? Who are they talking to? The funny thing about it is they were angry because I said I had reliable transportation when I interviewed for the job, and I did. In fact, when we first had our first phone conversation before I came in to interview, they asked me, hey, do you have reliable transportation? And I said, yeah, it looks like I can take the bus and the train. I should be able to get to your campus. And again, the job was this was a one-time deal. You go into the campus once just to do the training. And then from there, you would go to the schools and you would start teaching and things like that. I think they had, you would have like a mentor for like the first few runs. So you don't have to do it solo. Once you figure out how to set up the hardware and the lessons that you're going through, then it's a piece of cake. Not to mention you can learn the material on your own at home because, they just give it to you to download and do on your own. Just install Minecraft on your computer and do it at home, and then you go into classes and you repeat the same thing. So, you have access to the lesson material, but they didn't mention that you would have to transport it. And when I said over the phone, yeah, I can take the bus, or I can take the bus and the train to get there, like, that was your time to say, no, I mean, do you have a car? Because the job entails transporting the computers back and forth. But they never said that. So I show up to this interview thinking, oh, this is pretty cool. I'm just going to have to I can just, after class, take the bus to, whatever middle school, high school, or elementary school, wherever they need me to go. I can take the bus over there, or, Uber or Lyft. And then when I get there, boom, do my work and then go home. This is simple. But they didn't mention that. Now when I get to the campus and I'm interviewing, now I find out that, oh, you have to transport the hardware. Now, again, none of that bothered me, but I was just surprised that the hiring manager would call me and act out of pocket like this. I mean, it was nuts. Couldn't believe it. I ended up hanging up on the hiring manager or whatever, but and then apparently when I was talking to the developer, we were talking about it, and they were saying, yeah, they're like that. They freak out about stuff or whatever. Woo. Hey man, that's who the CEO wants in the house, then that's good for them. But I just thought it was so weird. But in regards to the job, I actually felt good about the interview. The company seemed pretty cool, and I definitely would look at companies like that again. But as for this particular mission that I took, the company was good, but the campus and the commute were way too far out. Chances are if you work at a company, it doesn't matter what they say about, oh, you won't have to commute here or anything like that. At some point, you will probably have to go, even if you do like some kind of all hands thing. I mean, even some years ago, I worked at this one coffee place. It's a chain around the country. I'm not going to say which one because you know how people get down. But I worked there for about 3 months, part-time, worked like 18 to 25 hours a week. And they had this all hands meeting where they were like, oh, our menu's going to change and we need everyone, all hands on deck. Everyone has to commute to way out at the headquarters. And I'm like, bro, this job is only like a few hours a week. Why am I going all the way across to God knows where to learn about new menu items? But the point remains that companies can call you out at any time. So don't think just because, oh, the campus is far, but they said that the work would be at local schools. So I'm sure it's not a problem. Like, if you can't get there easily, then chances are you should probably leave it alone. Again, company could be great, but you have to think about your time as well. Overall, just don't be pressed for any position and don't let it offset your balance. Give yourself your own terms and say, this is the max amount of time I'll travel between my home and my job. For me, it's 1 hour. If it takes longer from the first step I take out the door to the first step I take in the office, cannot be any longer than an hour. And if so, then hey, it ain't for me. But that's just one of those things, man. Yeah, set a limit for yourself and stay within those boundaries and you should be good. You definitely don't want to be pressed over any one position because there will be many of these positions, but there's only one of you. Thanks you all. Thank everyone for tuning in. This is your host, Richard, signing out. Don't forget to, if you like this content, to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on notifications so you can see when I upload each week, and join the mailing list at codingfanatic.com. You'll know when I upload new content like this before anyone else. So yeah, thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.